and welcome to the Tech Knowledge series. Today we have Mr. Amit Nikharge from Head of IT Security, Compliance and Infrastructure from IDFC Bank. He's one of the tech leaders who has probably worked from the ground up and has that is his hand during this pandemic in managing one of the largest networks. And let's hear from him how he managed during the pandemic and what all things he implemented to learn to do the business continuity process, and what are the challenges he faced and how he managed them. Yeah, welcome Amit and to the Technology series. And we would like to hear from you.
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to the discussion.
It's our pleasure.
It is glad to be a part of such discussions, and it gives us a good discussion.
It's our pleasure.
It is glad to talk about what we did and also learn, be a part of some others as to what they had done. Thanks for this. It gives us a good
so when you talk about
my experience during this pandemic, it has been a part of such discussions, and it has been a kind of nightmare for everyone. It gives us a good discussion. We were into an era where be a part of everything and work wherever you gives us a good discussion. There was a lack of sensitivity around glad security, be a part of what would happen, and it gives us a good discussion from being in a fort, glad to be a part of such discussions, and being on a battlefield, right? It gives us a good discussion with unknown challenges that comes to you. Glad to be a part of the major role was definitely for everyone was to provide access to office network, and in this competition, the people who got slight advantage was who had already adopted cloud technology first, and people who had zero trust as a solution embedded in their journey. So many people didn't had that. So most of them had to put their guards down to ensure that business continuity is there. But most of the people who had already started a journey towards cloud and considering zero trust as a part of their journey were had a slight edge. So that was there, because I remember in when this pandemic started in my previous organization, we had handful of VPN users, right? It was not given to everyone because it was always expected that the power users would come to office to work and do their job, be it 24/7 availability or anything, right? So VPN was not that much used. So for us, we literally moved from 50 odd VPN licenses to 50,000 licenses in a span of 6 months, right? And it was not just VPN, but advanced tailor-made solution that I would say from InstaSafe that kept us, at least in our industry, at the top of everyone else who was able to provide the solution. So there were many options that were evaluated, right? So be it WED or be it Citrix or a remote desktop connection or a jump server versus the VPN, right? But thankfully, the solution that we had worked absolutely well. We just had to expand the solution. So that's how we survived, basically. And the important technology that we adopted was the InstaSafe Zero Trust.
Okay. from the hardware perspective, like you had a huge workforce, right, who moved from on-premise to working from home kind of setup. So how did you manage the hardware challenges and the security towards that?
So hardware was a challenge, definitely, but the population that we had is mostly agent population. So we had to ship the desktops out to their homes because those images are specifically built for them. Everything is controlled through group policies, so nothing is hardened to the image, but that was advantage as well as disadvantage. When people move out of when these desktops move out of the office, we have to ensure that they have a line of sight with the Active Directory so that policies stay consistent.
Okay. But it must have been a logistical Herculean task, coordinating and sending to each of the agent place and all that, right?
Yeah, definitely. That was a task, but I think with the help of our facilities team, we were able to kind of
manage
cope up with the demand.
What were the critical demands from the business heads, kind of a thing?
Business heads only
priority kind of thing.
So the goal was to have business continuity, that they should be able to operate. But the challenge for IT was the nature of business, right? So there are different natures of business, right? Some business units do only backend processing. Some business units do voice calling. Some business units do live chat. Some business units do data processing on the go. Some business units do ticket bookings on the fly, right? So we were a mix of travel as well as hospitality, as well as logistics, as well as travel verticals to which we provided solutions. So business demands were different, but yeah, definitely there were certain operational concerns that every business has raised. One was, how do we ensure that the productivity of the agents.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That was one of the challenge. Second challenge was, how do we ensure that their technical issues are resolved? Because when we look at the service desk, we did an analysis of service desk requests, and there were quite a few requests raised by every business unit while they were in office. So how do we ensure that it works when they are out of office? And other than business heads, then CISOs and CROs had different requirements as to their attendance data should be captured, their login, log off data should be captured. Whatever access we allow has to be, hairpinned through our data centers and then access, so that there is a not more exposure towards work from home and other exploits and all of that. The very important concern that I understand is providing a sustainable internet connection to every agent was an important task.
Yeah.
Right. To ensure that while we provide everything, but they should have a sustained internet connection so that they can operate.
So how did you manage that?
So yeah, we were able to get hold of Airtel and provide Airtel and Jio and provide dongles to them. Because end of the day, everything depends on a stable internet connection. Right?
Absolutely.
Whatever you have to pull, any kind of policy that you have to push, any kind of log that you have to pull, needs a stable internet connection, other than the day-to-day operations that users would do. And with that, when there are, just a minute. when there are humans, there are human elements as well, right? Sometimes the internet may not work for them at their home, or sometimes they would have some other challenges to come online. So how do we ensure that it is very well tracked? So entire that piece was something that was important. So we kind of created a uh, framework through which we would uh, ascertain if user is operational or not. So things like uh, login, log out data, uh,
So these are
idle
all
timeout data.
HRMS requirements. HR
Right,
requirements. Yeah, okay.
right. Then even HRMS, and more than that, so suppose you are working from home, and if there is any kind of exploit or antivirus or a malware on your machine,
Yeah.
we have to ensure that while you are working from home, those antivirus data
Mhm.
is sent real time to our SIM solution, so that because what I observed is noticed is in most of the organizations
Mhm.
they had only enabled policy to get antivirus updated over internet. So they changed the repository. Generally, your on-premise server updates the antivirus
Correct. Correct.
on the endpoints,
On a
right?
LAN
They
setup. Yeah.
changed the they changed it to work on internet, but they generally didn't had any option to
Patch it up.
collect logs.
Okay.
Collect logs. Patching and all was happening, but they didn't have visibility as to what is happening on the network.
Okay. Okay. That is interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So yeah, people mostly focused on ensuring that they get antivirus files. But what about logs? Does logs come back, and do they have visibility on the endpoint? That was something that they didn't bother because it consumes a lot of data, right? I
True.
mean,
Yeah.
internet bandwidth. But in but when machine connects back to the LAN, the
Yeah.
amount of information antivirus will push for the backlog that it has created would be lot.
Correct.
So
The file sizes will
that
be
was
bigger.
one, right. So that was one of the major concerns which was raised by our business heads.
Okay.
So we kind of managed to do that with the InstaSafe solution.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what are the other technologies you use to, apart from Access and your other tools, which help you maintain the business continuity and all?
So other tools that we introduced certain RPA bots
Okay.
uh, to automate daily mundane tasks that were required to be performed from office only.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So there are certain tasks, right, that can't be performed over a VPN due to dependency on
Bandwidth and all.
MAC binding to a specific
Oh, okay.
IP address and to a specific host name and all of that. So
Okay.
all those tasks were automated through RPA.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, so RPA was trained to do those jobs, mundane jobs that analyst would do,
Mm-hmm.
and then RPA used to do those daily jobs. Example is ID management,
Okay.
creation of IDs and all of that,
Okay.
which generally happens through input file and output file that comes in from HRMS system and goes out to HRMS system, right? So analyst has to do a data messaging and perform certain tasks to do that. So all that was automated through RPA.
Oh, that has been interesting. So, what will be your three key points for your colleagues, peers in the industry? The learnings, what you would say to keep in mind, so that in such scenarios they can manage the business process, continuity process more seamlessly, easily, and look forward to scalable models.
So important is uh, it definitely differs from industry to industry.
Mm-hmm.
BFSI has their own regulatory requirements. Non-BFSIs are a little more flexible
Yeah.
to adopt new technologies, right? But the approach should be, first is very importantly, access has to be controlled through uh, you know least privileged basis, and zero trust. It has to be multi-factored. It has to be so IT should know from where a user is going to access the resources, what device is he authorized to access the devices, and what conditions are required in order to him to get the access. So zero trust is very important. Second is visibility. So a lot of data is being generated with the kind of solutions that we use. They generate a lot of data, but we are still trained to look at very specific data and certain set of data when regulatory requirement comes in. But there has to be a analytics model assigned to that data, so that there is that data makes more sense and it is more presentable, and we get more insights out of that data, so that we can take predictive decisions.
Correct.
Like capacity planning, for that matter, exploits, trends, for that matter, right? What kind of exploits are expected to come? It is mainly observed, right? I mean, if you go back and look at your email gateway server, you will see the phishing emails mostly increase when there is a big festival like a Diwali or a Christmas, right? I mean, promos and offers come in through email channel, and people are tend to click on links to get off.
Click on it, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So those trend analysis. So you have to assign a lot of analytics to your data, so that that data makes sense and can be used for your future predictions. Yeah.
Okay.
And third,
I think you mentioned you also implemented a lot of planning and processes. While you spoke about key, you went back and looked into the data for HR and all those requirements, the log reports and all. What all things can be automated, what all things can be planned, and based on that, you could design and implement the new digital transformation, as I may call it. It is a massive transformation for everybody, right? And scale, you had probably one of the largest. So what kind of planning and processes were involved?
So one was the major digital transformation that we did was allocation of IT assets, right? I mean, earlier user comes to office, attends the induction, and he gets the induction kit. In induction kit, he gets the assets that are required for his
day-to-day operations. Yeah.
Right. But that changed. So we changed the way we issue the assets by automating ship to deliver model.
Okay.
So, right. So one touch deployments. Machine is directly shipped from distributor to the end user by eliminating the end user support team's involvement, where a desktop engineer would build that desktop or a laptop. Instead, it will be shipped directly from a factory to the user. As soon as user starts the laptop, it is provisioned over cloud.
Okay.
Right? That was one of the transformation that we did. And then as we learned new things about our capabilities of our existing VPN solution, we moved from application, tunnel-based access to application-based access, that to zero trust, where a kind of virtual application experience was given to the users. Then certain new technologies were adopted, like CASB, to ensure that we have a uniform policy across all clouds.
Okay.
And that gets applied across AWS, G Suite, or Azure, or Salesforce. So uniformity of governance policy was also introduced. So these were the things that we did.
Okay, great. One more thing I would like, one last question. So during this pandemic, what has happened is all IT heads, IT teams also were working from home. And at the same time, the management expectation from them was to support all the field teams or the users, internal users. And this must be a Herculean task as well as a stressful task. How did you manage that? The work-life balance while doing all these transitions? While the expectations
Work
are
life,
high at both ends, that must have been
yeah,
taken.
work life balance was not there definitely for 6 to 8 months when we hit the lockdown.
Right.
But yeah, there was a shift required where users were used to, call at the from the IP phone to service desk and get their issues resolved to a platform like a Zoom or Teams,
Yeah.
right? So the channels were moved from audio calls to a VoIP call, that the way we are currently doing.
Correct.
So certain channels were moved, new channels were introduced, like uh, ticketing was given more priority, right? Users got used to create ticket. Earlier, they were used to pick up a phone from the desk, do dial an IP number, and get their issues resolved. So
Right.
that cultural change was required to move from that behavior to behavior of raising tickets, where it gets assigned to a user and then he resolves it. Then Teams was another channel, Zoom was another channel
Okay.
that were suddenly utilized a lot to get things done.
Yeah.
And work life balance was not there definitely. It was very difficult for everyone to
True. And because
manage both,
everything was
because it was
yeah. Sorry. What I was asking was because everything suddenly came on the internal IT teams to manage and facilitate everybody to be ready for the business continuity. The IT team itself also was under stress when working
correct.
from home because you needed to
Correct.
and coordinate, collaborate, and delivery also was
Right.
expensive. So how did you manage that stress?
It was kind of devote yourself to company. Don't think just work. So if you have seen recent movie of Tom Cruise in Top
Right.
Gun, he says, "Don't think, just do."
Right.
So that was the scenario everyone would have adopted. Definitely, I adopted that. Don't think, just do, because while we were getting, because it had a social impact also, right? I mean,
True.
you kind of get news that your colleagues are getting sick, their families are getting sick. So that sense of responsibility automatically comes to you that, yeah, I mean, if you are able to work, then let's do more for the users and get things done. So it was that kind of only. It's only, I think it was a race. A few people managed to do it in 6 months. Few people managed to do it in 4 months. Few people managed to do it in 12 months, depending on complexity, uh, availability of resources, external factors like how many of them were COVID impacted and not, depending on that. But yeah, I think largely it was a span of a year. I think it took for everything to settle down,
Okay.
largely for our industry.
On a lighter note, being a adventurous hobbyist, how much it helped you being on the edge?
Yeah, it was there. I mean, adrenaline rush is something that I always have. I have been into difficult situations, so that brain was already trained to face such situations. Definitely, that adventure helped a lot because for few people, I mean, people get panic, right? I mean, and I had been into such situations, not this, but yeah, difficult situations. The
Okay.
pressure is kind of same,
Yeah.
so it definitely helps.
So Uh, how do you look into the future of digital transformation with the dynamics changing continuously or every day?
I think the future is hybrid. It has to operate in hybrid. Every organization will have to keep a ratio where. So earlier we used to have, right? I mean, we have a primary data center, then we have a DR data center. Then the new wave came where we used to do near data center, near disaster recovery side, NDR.
Yeah.
Right now we'll have to adopt one more model, which is hybrid, where you carve out a ratio which will work from home, and a ratio that will operate from office.
Right.
And this hybrid model would is what everyone will have to adopt.
Right.
There are benefits definitely from both the sides. People save time in travel. Company saves energy, desk,
Operating cost,
power, operating cost, so it's win-win for them. But yeah, hybrid is the future.
Great, Amit. Thank you so much for spending your time with us and sparing your valuable time with us and sharing your knowledge and experience. I believe this will be very, very helpful for the colleagues in the industry and peer groups. And we look forward to many more such sessions with you. And it was a pleasure talking to you. And thank you so much for joining us. And have a great day and lovely.
You too. Have a great evening. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you, Rajat. Thank you.